Assalamu alaikum and good evening everyone. This is me Prapti, and today I'm here to talk about a few lessons that I have learned through taking about 4 tests, mainly speaking tests of IELTS, and let's talk about it. So, in my first exam, these are the advice that I got from my teacher. I gave the first 2 exams to the same teacher right after by applying whatever advice I got. So let's talk about it. So the first advice I got was not to make silly repetitions. You guys will see me making a lot of repetitions, such as you guys, that word, I use it a lot. Then, like, I use that word a lot as well. And besides, I also use that word a lot. And my teacher said that you should try to change up those words. If you just have to use those words, then make sure that you use some synonyms. And I realized that yes, that is such a fatal flaw in my speaking. So I kind of worked on it. And another thing my teacher told me was to stay in the topic and expand the thing a bit more. So, whatever questions he was asking me, I gave the answers a bit shorter than it was expected from me. So, for example, for part 3 questions, I was supposed to speak for about 1.5 minute each question or 2 minutes each question, but what I did was around 1 minute. So he suggested that I should expand it a more, or so that was a very valid point. And another one that example I could give you was definitely in part 2. So I remember the timing for part 2 question in the first exam I gave, it was around 1 minute and 36 seconds, which is a lot less than what I was supposed to do. I was required to speak for at least 2 minutes, and my teacher was supposed to stop me after that. Why am I saying teacher? I'm supposed to say examiner, forgive me for that. So, anyways, my examiner gave me those suggestions in the first test, and I tried applying those right after that, and I asked him to take another test of me, and I improved one factor, which was, expanding the answer a bit more. I did that, and it worked out pretty well, because in the second test that I gave to him, which was about like 15 minutes after my first test, I believe that I did pretty well. In my first test, he wasn't sure if he wanted to give me a 7 or a 7.5, and in my second test, he was pretty sure that he wanted to give me a 7.5. Now, I'll talk about whatever mistakes and whatever suggestions I got in my second test. So, my second test, he still mentioned the silly repetitions things. Here's the thing, I'm from an English version school, right, guys? So I cannot just leave these words. They have become a habit of mine. The second suggestion he made was a bit surprising to me. Okay, so the suggestion was to use sentences of different tenses. I then realized that even though I know lots of sentences, lots of variations of tenses, I wasn't using them. I just tried to keep it as simple as possible. I was just focusing on the extending factor, so I didn't really, notice that I wasn't using any complex sentence or any compound sentence. It was a mess. Then the third suggestion I got was organizing my thoughts. In my part 2, I didn't organize my thoughts properly. I believe that it's mainly because I was so focused on one thing that I forgot that if I have mentioned the other thing or not. I do not remember which topic I was talking about there, but I do remember this, that I kind of messed it up after I spoke about like 1 minute and 40 seconds in the part 2. I kind of forgot if I spoke about that point or not. So I was like, okay, let me just mention it again. So that kind of messed things up a bit, but it was still alright. So I think that was about it. Those were the suggestions I got in my first two tests, which happened in the same day. And then let's talk about my first official test, mainly partial test, but anyways. So in that test, I did pretty good. I'm kind of proud of it, but yeah, there the only suggestions that I got were definitely the silly repetition. Again, I've been working on it, guys. Trust me, I've been working on it so hard, but it's a bit tough for me. I'm just still trying my best to improve. I have been doing this for the past week or so. So yeah, so that was the only suggestion that I took into my mind, because the other ones I didn't really think that I made those mistakes. Like the fan in the room. The room was very small and there was like a loud fan. So it was reflecting all our whatever we guys were saying. So he thought that I didn't you know add a D with the word change. So I was like, I did do that though. Like when I was getting feedback, I couldn't really say it during the examination, guys. So do not do that mistake. So he thought that I didn't use the past form of a lot of sentences. And I was like, really? I do not think that I ever make those mistakes, which is absolutely true. I'm very careful about my grammars and I try not to make grammatical mistakes. Call it some drama from my previous school, because like there, whenever you would make some sort of grammatical mistakes, people would make fun of you and tease you about it. So since then I have been very self-aware about it. So it was a huge shocker for me. So then I just realized that it was just because the sound was reflecting. He couldn't hear me properly. So he was like, your accent is good, your fluency is good, and the way you used a variation of tenses is also good, but you need to work on those silly repetitions a bit. And also try staying on the topic. You often go far away from the topic with or on things that are not related to your topic. And I was like, yes, you're correct, because I was just trying to fill up the whole minutes. So after I got these suggestions, the only ones that I took into consideration were the silly mistakes, as I have just said before, like the repetition thing. And I got an 8 on my third exam, which I told you guys about it. It was technically also the only first exam that I put the marks into my mark sheet. It's a bit complicated. Okay, so after I was done with that and I got an 8, I started working on it a lot. I also tried speaking in English with my current classmates, but I had to pick very specific bench partners to be able to comfortably speak in English with them, because some of them do not like the way I talk. Do not like judge me for that or them for it. It's just something personal. But anyways, let's talk about my fourth exam. That was the last exam I gave. It was on Tuesday, I believe. Like, yeah, it was yesterday. So today is Wednesday, by the way. That is why I'm saying yesterday. I'm recording this on Wednesday. So here's the thing that happened. So there, I just went there and I noticed that it was my teacher who took the first examination. So he was my examiner that day. I was kind of scared and nervous, because the first time I gave an examination with him, I got around 7.5 and I got an 8 the previous day. So I was afraid, what if I get 7.5 again? That is gonna be such a disappointment for my mom. She isn't gonna let me inside her house, right? I'm gonna be homeless. Like, that's what I was thinking. It's just a joke too. So after I like panicked a bit, but I still like calmed myself down, took a few breaths and went inside the room. And after that, we guys took the exam, and the problems that he told me about yesterday was kind of something that was definitely my fault. I'm telling you guys about it. So first of all, he apologized because he thought that it was a bit nitpicky, which I do not agree with because I'm a perfectionist and I like things to be perfect, and I also want to get a perfect score in the real IELTS exam. It's just what I want to do. So I was like, yeah, go ahead, give me the suggestions. I would love a few, and I want to improve myself. I do not mind constructive criticism when it comes to English. I would mind if it were any other subject or any other topic, but I do not mind it when it is in English because I want to be the best in this. It's just what I told him, and it is also what I think, guys. So after I told him that, he was like, okay, so the first thing was definitely I noticed that you were pronouncing a few words wrong. It's not even wrong, like you were having a bit trouble pronouncing those words. So the word was mainly usually. That's how we pronounced it, right? But when I'm speaking in like full speed, I sometimes say usually, which is wrong. It's supposed to be usually. Okay, so I made a mistake on that one, so he kind of like said that I could put some more work into it. So that was a bit unexpected. Another mistake he told me was just one single grammatical error, which was a sunny day. So we guys were talking about something that if like it was appropriate for people to go outside during the rain, or like do people prefer sunny days or rainy days. So I was like, yeah, people would definitely prefer a sunny day over a rainy day. Okay, that was what like I was talking about. So like oh no, it was sunny weather, I believe. But anyways, it was mainly about an article, and an article wasn't really supposed to be there. So that was just one mistake. So he still like gave me the high score in the grammar section. But another thing that he told me was definitely again the suggestion he gave me in my second test, which was to organize my thoughts a bit more. And yeah, those are the main three suggestions he gave me. I'm working on it currently. I'm trying to improve those. Maybe I'll find out a lot more new things later. But these are the ones I'm currently working on. I'm still practicing those even right now and trying to implement those. And yeah, those were the mistakes and the things that I have learned. And by the way, I got an 8.5 on that one, on that partial test. I'm not that proud of it because I feel like I could have done better on that test, because the topics were pretty easy, even though they weren't really something that I have read before. Like they're just general knowledge, and I could have easily talked about them a lot more. But I was just a bit nervous if I'll do worse than my previous exam and it would be a disappointment to my parents. So I just kind of panicked a bit and was a little bit distracted, which is why I didn't really do the best at it. And another thing was I had school yesterday, and after coming from school I also had other work to do. And after that, after doing my homework as well, I just went straight there, and I was having some breathing problems. But I think that I still did good. I could have done better, but it was pretty good, so I just gave myself a pat in the back. And yeah, that is about it for today.